Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to go over all of my September expenses, income, and also my net worth. If you're new to the channel, welcome to this channel. What I usually do is I do videos about the dividends from my dividend portfolio. I also show you the rest of my investments as well. I just like to chronicle and track this through time, so you're welcome to go back to my older videos and see where I started from in 2021. I think it was January 2021 when I first started doing these videos. So the only thing I ask of you guys watching at home is to please click the like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel as well so you do not miss future videos. And these videos, they don't get as much views as the other stock buy videos that I do, but I think this is actually more important that you track your expenses, your income, as well as your net worth. I'll leave a link below to this sheet. It's just a simple Google Doc spreadsheet. I fill it out every single month. Every time I make a purchase, I will go ahead and I will log it here. As you can see, all these different purchases. I put the date, the business, the amount, and I also categorize it as well. And you can see things that you guys are going to probably have, like utilities. There's no way of really getting around that. Also, grocery, as well as sometimes going out to restaurants as well. We're all gonna have different budgets. We're gonna have different spends, as well as income and net worth, because we all have different jobs. We have different needs, and we also have different starting points as well. But you can see the largest line item that I have, and this should be going away after the summer of 2026. My son's going to be graduating from college, and he already has a job lined up. I'm so proud of him for getting that done. Of course, getting his 4-year degree upcoming, as well as getting a corporate job, which is just awesome. So this expense will eventually go away, which was my largest expense. And there's one thing that's missing here, and I did something pretty profound, which was I paid off my house. I sold part of, we'll go over on this side of it real quick. I had a taxable brokerage account that was pretty sizable, and I wanted to get to a certain point. I also included, the taxes. There's going to be a tax bomb in there as well. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait till that taxable brokerage account got to the amount that I owed on that mortgage for the payoff. And then also I had a fence installed, so I want extra for that fence. And then probably about $4,000 or $5,000 extra, more cash. And then also about $20,000 there for the taxes. It's a lot of money, but it wiped out my mortgage, and so I'm just going to be paying for property taxes and insurance going forward. But in September there was none of that, but that's going to catch up here in 2026. Those will pop back in, and we'll go over those amounts a little bit, the estimates of what those are going to be. But really nothing huge that kind of hit me. Just the normal, the monthly expenses where I'm helping my son out with his college expenses. So that was my half of it. And so, like I said, everyone's expenses are all going to be different, but here is the total: $1,876.91. Then we'll go to the income side here. You can see I have a lot of different income sources. When I was in my 20s, in teens, 20s, even my 30s, really the only expense, or excuse me, the only income that I had was a paycheck. Maybe I had a little bit of savings interest in there, but that was about it. But I started to think I need more income sources, and you can see what I did was I added dividend paying stocks. And of course that's what my channel really focuses on, is the dividends. But I'm also counting interest in here along with my W-2. You can see I had 2 paychecks in here, and that is, my paychecks are still by far the biggest things that are providing me income. But I want to replace that income though with other things, with the dividends and interest in here. We can see there's a few other things I have in here, like I found $1.25 one day. And so I put that in there as well because I can actually that into the self checkout lanes and make my purchases at the store $1.25 lower. So that is actual income. We'll look at some other things in here like surveys. I do Swagbucks surveys every morning. And what I do is I'll watch and listen to YouTube videos, and I will be doing surveys in the background. You can see, we'll see the total of those. So for this month, I did $50 worth, and that was actual cash that went into PayPal. I just transferred it over to PayPal. And I'll leave a link below if you want to check out Swagbucks. And if you sign up, I think it gives me like $3 or something like that. Just a little something, that goes to me. But the majority, well, actually everything I make off of this is just my surveys and little bonuses that just added up. What we see here, I'm getting dividends from companies that everyone's pretty much heard of, like Kroger, Aflac in here, and Microsoft's Yum Brands, which includes like Taco Bell, KFC, Hershey's, of course, everyone knows that. Here's a monthly payer realty income. So this is kind of like real estate. I don't have to go out and buy a rental home, but it's paying nearly $15 every single month. You see, like McDonald's, usually you'll see McDonald's on the expenses side. And occasionally you will see it where I do buy some McDonald's, but this is a dividend that was paid by McDonald's. What I do with all these dividends is I reinvest it back into the company that paid it. So guess what? The next time there's a dividend, it's going to be higher from each of these companies. And here's one. This is ticker symbol BST. This is a monthly payer. It's covered call strategy is what it's doing for income for me. So this is a huge one that hits every month. And then what I usually do with that dividend is I spread it across the other companies to kind of bring those dividends higher, because this one's over $500. I want to get some of the other ones to pay more. Like Yum Brands, get that above the $10 mark. So you can see a whole bunch of dividends rolled in here. Here's my income total. This is including all sources, but my W-2 income was the largest. You can see of that. And the total was $61.53. Let me make sure that's totaling everything. Actually, it's more than that, because it looks like it should be up to 38, not 31. So I copied this over, and it didn't have everything. So actually, my income total was $7,759. I knew that was off because of my W-2 income plus all the dividends received in there. And you can see here's the total for my W-2. And that's net. I also, I contribute to my 401k. I have taxes taken out. I have insurance, things like that. But here's the dividends. I want to show you something here. The total for the dividends received in the month of September actually exceeded all of my expenses, which is awesome. That is just awesome to see. Dividends could have paid for all of my expenses. Could have not, shown up to work and had everything paid for just by the dividends alone. But I'm also getting money. Here's the interest, the total for interest from savings accounts. 318 in there. Here's the surveys. Facebook, I didn't sell anything on Facebook Marketplace in September. Usually every couple months I'm selling something on Facebook or Craigslist, something like that. And YouTube, I don't make a whole lot from this channel, just to be completely honest. I'm doing this to help you guys out. I mean, for real. I'm not trying to do courses or anything like that, or do Patreon, or try to sell memberships. None of that. Just if you watch a commercial or two, whatever, that's great. Or just click like. That's all you gotta do. No merchandise, none of that. I'm trying to help you guys and trying to show you how I've done it, how I've built this wealth, how I've built up these dividends, everything. Just showing you how I've done it. You're welcome to go back and watch the older videos. So here's the W-2 gap, and this is something you guys should be tracking your gap, and that's what you're spending against your W-2. So I had a gap of over $3,600. So what I can do is I can invest that. I can put that into savings, and that's exactly what I did. Was part of that I reinvested back into these dividend-paying stocks, and also with my paychecks I'm contributing up to the match. So I'm investing in myself that way back into my 401k. And here is the gap, including the interest surveys, Facebook and YouTube. You can see it kicks it up to $3,971 for that gap. So I encourage you guys, track your expenses, track your income, and look at the expenses. The donut has really changed because it used to be on my mortgage. We'll go back to August. We'll see when the last housing expense was. And I was paying a little bit extra than my mortgage, so I was rounding it up to an even $2,000 there. But that was about half of my expenses in August. And you can see, well, let's look at the total, how much I spent. It was over $4,000. And here I spent less than half of that because those housing costs went away. But we're going to average it out though, because I'm going to get hit with some bombs when I do pay the annual insurance. It's going to be about $1,465, and the monthly for that insurance will be about $122.08. Then the taxes, again, there's going to be 2 tax bombs are going to hit every 6 months, but the annual, I think this is actually going to go up because I was reassessed again. But the annual is $37.60 for a monthly of $313.33. So these are going to be hitting me probably once of the insurance, annually, because I'm going to have to pay that. It's not going to be in my escrow anymore, the taxes and insurance, so I'm just going to pay those, in big lump sums. Of course, the insurance, I'll pay that annually and not pay that monthly to lower the rate. Some people do that with auto insurance, they'll pay that monthly. I recommend you pay it in annually if you can, because you're going to save hundreds of dollars just by doing that. So let's go to the net worth real quick, and I'll show you my net worth. And over at Vanguard, I have an IRA and in the remnants of a taxable brokerage account. This was higher, but I'll show you in August. We'll go to that net worth. It was already cashed in at that point. So right here is at $511,300 back in July, but now it's down to $329 because again I liquidated that taxable brokerage account. There's like $23 left in that taxable brokerage account, but again I have no mortgage. Over at M1, I have an IRA over there as well. This is pretty much my working 401ks from 1996 to 2019, and I've rolled them over to this M1 IRA. And if you're curious to see what's in that, just watch my other videos. You'll see me show my tracking sheet, and you'll see what those ETFs are. And over with T Rowe is my 401k. That's the closing balance. I round everything to the nearest $100. I'll round down if I have to, and I'll do that. So the nearest $100. So Synchrony, this is my emergency fund. Right now it's at $85K. This will be going up steadily without having that mortgage, and because what I want to do is, the tax bomb's going to hit. So technically this is probably closer to $65,000, but I think by the time April rolls around 2026, I'm going to have even more cash than this, even after the tax bomb. But we'll see. Stick around, subscribe, watch these videos. We'll see if I'm right. So here's my M1 taxable account. We're seeing all these dividends hit. All these dividends, these are from this taxable account right over here, with that balance at $316,200. Then over at M1, I have another savings account, and this is my, you can see in the parentheses, investing cash. What I'm doing is I'm taking $250 per week and putting it into this portfolio and reinvesting it. So when this runs out, I'm likely going to stop investing cash, possibly. We'll see, into this. And what I'll do is let the dividends roll in and increase this value, as well as these companies are also, they're increasing their dividends. It's not like it's the same dividend year after year. Companies like Aflac are increasing their dividends in double digits. Aflac's last dividend increase was 15%, which is crazy. Not all of them do that. Exxon's more of like a 4%, while Microsoft's more like a 10%. Yum's like right around 6%. Realty Income's like a 2% when you count up their multiple dividend increases. And McDonald's, I think they just had a 5% one. But they're outpacing, most of these companies are outpacing, um, with inflation, which is just awesome. So that's why I do that dividend strategy. Also for tax reasons too. But I'm not a tax professional. I'm also not an investment professional. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing this for demonstration and entertainment purposes only. But here's my home equity. It was according to Zillow. I think it's actually gone up, but I don't want to overstate this, the home equity portion of it, because my paid off home really doesn't. If this inflates to $2 million, it doesn't help me out at all until I sell the house. But then I still need somewhere to live, and my home is not spinning off income. It's not spinning off any income. It's only going to generate expenses. It just provides a place to live, unless I was renting it out or I was renting out a room or doing Airbnb occasionally or something like that when I was out of town. But that's not the case. So this really, I think people overstate their home equity. Really, this is where it counts in my net worth. But here's the total of my net worth, just $25,000 shy of that $2 million mark, which I think is huge. But look at this though. Here's the change in 1 month. From August just of last month, my net worth went up by $45,200. And that's really just a change in the stock market. And of course, me investing that gap, me having a gap as well. So we'll take a look and you can see what the old amounts were. You can see here's what the total was. So I do this every single month, and not every month is a positive. Let's look back and see where the last negative was, because I assure you, not everyone's a positive. But look at some of these; they've gone up like crazy. Look at May 2025, almost $100,000 change. But yeah, here's a bad month. So there are some bad ones here in April 2025. This is when all the tariff talk was happening, down 58,600. But you can see we're way up from there. I was at 1.6. We're well over 1.9 now. So over $300,000 from that bad news. But look at over the last year, the change from September 2024 up $247,000. And this is the change in 2 years, my net worth up $639,000. Here's the change in 3 years, up $891,000. And I'll tell you something, I didn't have an inheritance. I didn't pick a stock that went up like 100 times. There was nothing like that. It was really my ETFs, my indexes just went up along with the stock market, and I just had a gap in just about every single month in those 3 years. And that is what's happened. We just had a bull market in 3 years, and then having that gap and reinvesting back into myself, really. So I think that's all I had to show you guys for this video. Again, the expenses, my income, my net worth, it's amazing. Month after month, most months are like this where it's going up. And so far the years have been positive, especially the 2-3 years. But there are going to be months, but I predict in the future there's going to be a year or two where it could be in the negatives for a while, because history has shown that's happened, and that will probably happen. And hopefully, I'm still working. I have a gap to invest into that. When we have those times where you are investing like crazy and you're having down months, down years, those are the times to keep on doing it, because that's when it really rebounds and your net worth is going to skyrocket as a result. So that's all to show you guys for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this, my strategy of kind of tracking this. Let me know in the comments below if you had a gap this month. You don't have to tell me what your gap was, but maybe say, let me know if you're on target with what your gap was, or do you track your budget? Do you track this? And one reason I do this, and I'll tell you, my ex-wife, we get along great. She's a great person. She's trying to get me to do Monarch Money, and a lot of people, it's very highly recommended, but I'll tell you why I do this manually. And the reason I do this manually is this feels like I spend the money when I put this down into this. When you swipe the card, sometimes there's some disconnect. Also with my utilities, I don't have these set up for autopay. And a lot of people say that's crazy. Why do you do that? Because this, to me, it feels like I spent the money. And if I think if you automate too much or you disconnected too much from your spending, it doesn't feel like you're spending. And I kind of want to feel a little bit of that pain in that spending. And I also will look at it. If it goes up by a couple dollars, I will question, hey, what happened? Or, with this is my electric bill. I want to see track what's happening. I may lose sight of it a little bit. And this is my gas and water bill here. So I want to know, like, hey, exactly what happened, with it to work, to maybe see if I need to turn down the thermostat or turn it up. Maybe I can actually have more gap in here. I can live it up a little bit, and maybe have the house, a little bit cooler in the summer or a little bit warmer in the winter by watching all these. So just giving you guys an explanation of why I do this, even though there are great apps out there like Monarch. And another thing is they cost money. I know not much money. I can probably easily afford it. When you see this gap in here, these gaps, especially including the interest surveys, Facebook and YouTube, I can readily afford it. But again, I like to push those buttons and then put it in here to show, then it really clicks that I spent that money. So anyway, let me know in the comments below. Do you guys use an app like Monarch? Do you think this is crazy to track your expenses like that? I know I'm old school. I'm a little bit older. I'm 52, and that's why I have this net worth like that. If you guys are younger, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you're a student coming out of college. You could very well be in the negatives, and it may take a few years to get to break even, to get to zero. Don't feel bad about it. But I tell you what, though, if I was starting over as a recent graduate, 21-year-old, I wish I could go back. I would trade you guys that life, the extra 30, years. I would trade in this net worth for that and redo it, because there's a couple things I would do, but I'll get into that in another video. Because I would have a much higher number than this, and that's not because of stock picks or anything like that. It would be a very replicable way for anyone to, at least I could have doubled this, knowing what I know now. But anyway, I've digressed. I've went on a rant. I apologize. Thanks for watching this video, especially sticking to the end of the video. I hope everyone has a